Welcome to the Spark It Network podcast. I'm Karen Glasser in gorgeous Napa, California.
And I'm Catherine B. Trainer from beautiful Point Roberts, Washington.
How are you today, Catherine?
Hey, I'm great. It's beautiful, beautiful fall day, and we're just excited about what we're going to talk about today. This is one of your areas of expertise, and I'm excited. Because I've talked a lot on the first few podcasts, and today it's your time to shine, baby.
Well, you just have so much good content. I've been very happy to let you shine. So today we're going to move right into segment one because we're going to be talking about valuable information that you can use right now to spark your business, creativity, and loving your life. And today we're talking about the power of writing and publishing a book. Isn't that right, Catherine?
That's right, Karen. So tell me, there's a lot of people. It used to be a huge deal to write a book. And it's still a pretty big deal to write a book. A lot of people say they're going to do it, but they don't. But tell us realistically, what will it do? Why do you want to do it?
Well, there are so many reasons that you should be looking into this particular way to get your message out. Number one, it establishes you as an expert in your field. And if you don't just do the print kind of book and you go the ebook direction, it will create you a digital asset as well. And we've talked about digital assets over the past several weeks, how important they are. And having that book also makes it a little bit easier to get booked to speak. Have a book, they say, wow, this is somebody who has a book, we need to get them on our stage. But if you're already a speaker, then those books are really great too, because you can take those books when you go to speak and you can bring them to what we call the back of the room, so that people can take a little bit of you home. You can say, I have some books at the back, and you can sell some of those books. So now you have a product that you can sell. And the one that I really, really, really love, and I use it myself, I don't carry business cards. I don't know if you know that, Catherine. I don't have any business card that has my name on it anywhere. But what I do have are books. And so I use my books instead of a business card. Because what we found out is that generally people will, throw away that business card and that, circular file. Most people, well, at least people generally, will not throw away a book. They'll probably put it on their bookshelf if they don't read it immediately. And, as they walk back and forth the bookshelf, they might see that book and then they'll read it. So it's kind of a cool thing is to be able to use that as your introduction, as instead of the business card. Imagine, coming into a networking group and everyone's throwing business cards around and you just have some books in your purse or your briefcase and we get to know somebody and say, you know what, let me give you one of my books. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And then a couple of other reasons that you might want to have a book and what it will do for you. It does create your legacy. It's something in writing. It's something that's out there that your kids and your kids' kids and your customers and those customers that can always look back on. This is your legacy, and it gets your message into the hands of others.
And the other thing that, Karen, is when you have a book, it drastically increases your press credibility, because that is one of the things that, if you're creating a movie or if you've got a book, that gives them a reason that they should have you on there. So that you're going to get more press if you want to do like TV interviews, radio interviews, podcast interviews. Being the author of a book really increases your opportunities there. And then also, one of the things that you haven't really mentioned is what I recommend with people when I consult with them, once they have their book, they raise their fees 30%, and that it's a definite credibility booster to the degree that you can command more fees, more for speaking and for what you do for consulting or whatever you're doing.
That's so true. And some of our authors, what they actually do is when they get a speaking engagement, because they have that credibility, they offer to the promoter at a wholesale cost all of their books, so that all the visitors, all the attendees, everyone can go home with the book. So there's lots of ways that you can use your book to create so much more visibility as to who you are, and establishes you, as we said, as that expert in the field.
I love that, Karen. This is excellent. So let's talk about a few things like what it won't do, because that's, a lot of people do a book for an ego reason, or they might have ideas about it, based
Yeah,
on hype. There's a lot of hype in the industry right now.
there is so much hype in the industry. It used to be that the majority of people, if they wanted to write a book, you hope that you could get one of those big time publishers, and maybe they'd give you an advance, they'd put the book out there and get marketed, and you'd have a book. Very few people were able to do that, and that was the advent of print on demand, these smaller publishers, independent publishers. But what happened is they would come out and they would say to prospective book writers, you're going to get rich when you put this book out there. Well, you know what, Catherine, I'm here to say that's not true. You're not going to get rich. Maybe a very small percentage of the people, if you're in the right place at the right time and all the marketing's going the way it's supposed to go and somebody's shining down on you, maybe you might sell enough books to say, I'm actually making some money on this. But I really want to caution you, if the reason why you want to write a book is so that you're going to get rich, don't do it. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And the other misnomer that a lot of these publishers are going to tell you is you are going to be a bestseller. And that's just, you can't guarantee that. You may or may not get put on the bestseller list. There are ways to get on the bestseller list if you are giving your, let's say, your Kindle book away for free for X amount of days, and you can go to that bestseller status, and yes, you can say you're a bestseller, but the reality is once it goes into the store for a price, chances are you're not going to stay on that bestseller list for long. Does that make sense, Catherine?
It does, and to me, there's just a lot of hype and a lot of confusion as to what is a bestseller, and people claiming that they're bestsellers. Well, I worked with an author, you know, after he'd already been doing this stuff, and he had spent a huge amount of money on promotions and was going around saying he's a bestseller based on 1 week sale of his books in Denver, Colorado bookstores, because he'd had a big book signing and they did some media interviews and things, and because of that he was a best-selling author. And when I finished working with him, it took me 2 years to actually get accounting done of how many books that, and then this is back a few years ago when this is a hardcover book and things. He had sold less than 5,000 copies total over a period of almost 10 years. And he was going around, I'm a bestseller, I'm a bestseller. And I was like, liar, liar, pants on fire.
Exactly. And it's unfortunate because that also, when people do things like that and they say I'm a bestseller, it sort of tells other people, wow, I can be a bestseller too. And it's not true. And I would rather give honest information and allow that individual who wants to write the book know what they're getting into when they come in. And that really leads us to the next thing and what they can expect, right?
Well, I would like to go back to, will it make you rich? It won't make you rich, the book sales by themselves, but Karen, if you're making more money, it's definitely worth doing, because if you just imagining how much more profitable you're going to be with what you're doing if you can charge 30% more.
Oh, absolutely. When I was referring to and Catherine, when I said it won't make you rich, I was specifically saying the sales of your book per se,
right,
that you're going to sell, a gazillion books, and that in itself is going to make you rich. I totally agree with you that having that book will allow you to charge more money. Ergo, now you are making more money, and you could get rich doing that. So it's, right. I think it's two different sides of the coin.
It is, but we hate hype. Right. We're just not hype girls, and so we just want to make that clear. We absolutely, we wouldn't be talking about it if we didn't think it had profitable value for your business, but we don't want you to have unrealistic expectations and some fantasy that you're going to be, having parades and whatever.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Karen, what can you expect if you are going to be putting a book together? Is it, something that's, $15 and you go to Kinko's and then, do stuff, or is it going to be $50,000? What's the range? Or
okay,
just an average?
And that's a really good question. If we're talking about a book that you can actually, let's say, order on Amazon or walk into a bookstore and order the book so that you can get it, depending on where you are in your process, so let's say you've written a book, but that's it. You've got the manuscript, now what? You can expect to pay from most independent publishers anywhere between $2,500 to $4,000, and again, that depends on where you are. If you have the book but it's never been edited, that's going to mean it's going to cost a little bit more because you need to get it edited, and you don't just have it edited once, you have it edited by a couple of people, and that's part of the process. If you have had it edited already, now you need to make sure that it's formatted correctly for whatever platform it's going to be delivered. So if it's going to be delivered as a as an actual book, then it's going to be put into something called CreateSpace. That's generally the platform that most of us independent publishers use. And so we format it. It needs to be formatted. It needs to be put in the right place. The pictures need to be put in. You need to get your ISBN number. That's the Library of Congress number. It needs to have the copyright on it. And then it needs to be submitted. And you need your cover shot, your artwork. So depending on where you are in your process, it's going to run anywhere between $2,500 and $4,000. Now, does that mean that there are people out there that are not going to say it's $10,000? Oh yes, there are lots and lots of independent publishers out there that are going to say it's $10,000. Are there people that charge a little bit less? Yes, there probably are people that charge a little bit less. Just do your due diligence. Make sure you're getting what you think you're getting. And these are the things you want to ask. These are the questions that you want to ask when you're deciding on your independent publisher. You want to make sure that you have 100% control and own all of your accounts. You have no idea how important that is. A lot of these independent publishers will create these accounts, but they own the accounts. And if you want to buy books so that you can sell them on your own, you have to go through them and they will mark them up. And that is a huge, huge thing. So the first thing you want to ask is, will I own my own accounts? And that means my own CreateSpace account and my own Kindle account. Yes, they will set it up for you, but you want to own it. You do not want to have to buy it from them. You do not want to say that they own your book. You want to own your book. And the other thing that you want to ask is, what is the turnaround? How long will this take? Now, depending again where you are, if your book is already written, then you can look at anywhere between a 2 to 6 month turnaround. Because then all they have to do is edit and then put it into the formatting and then get it up on sites that it needs to be up. If you have not completely written your book and you need somebody to actually act as a ghostwriter and help you finish that book, then of course it's going to be on the longer end of this turnaround, if that all makes sense.
Sure it does. And Karen, and one of the things that we've talked about, we're big fans of little books too. A book does not have to be some big thick thing that's going to take you months and months and years to write. It could be, you know, a lot of we're busy, we have information overload. People do very, very well with short books that are visual, that are you know, great copy, a great title, and solve a problem.
Absolutely, and those really can be great calling cards as well. And then for those kind of books, of course, the price points on those are going to be completely different because it's a different kind of process. And the other thing is, if you are considering writing a book, but you just don't know how to write a book, but maybe you have a podcast like we do, or maybe you have an internet television show, or maybe you've done some blog posts, you can take all of those things that you've done and you can make books out of them. How cool is that?
It's repurposing, and it's also having something that's in a different format and it's tangible. And some people like the electronic versions; they want the Kindle and an ebook or iBook version of the book, and some people want a hardcover, and some people want a paperback. So and that's something that we can help people with too, right?
Absolutely, and I think really what we're saying, we need to meet you, the client, the customer, where you are, and we want to make sure that if your customers and your clients are basically audio listeners, then they need to be in audio, and then we can do a transcript. But if you need to meet your customer where they are, and you need to know really your avatar, who is your customer, and we've talked about this, and we're not going to go deep into that right now, but you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is actually what your readers want to be getting.
And it helps to work with somebody from the beginning of the process to make sure that you're writing especially if you're writing a business book or a book on your area of expertise, there are things that you are just so familiar with that you don't even think that somebody needs to know that, and you might leave them out of your book.
Right.
Because you're an expert, and that's one of the reasons you want to have an editor, you want to have a book coach, or you want to work with somebody that can really help you think through the whole process, not only from your standpoint as an author, but also as a reader. What are they going to get? What they expect met from that book, and are they going to be delighted? One of our speakers in the Increase series, Robert Curry, talked about how one of the ways he formatted his book, which is a true best-selling book, Feed a Starving Crowd, was he went to Amazon and he just studied the reviews of 3 people that gave 3-star reviews for books on marketing. And he said, I just studied those because they're realistic reviews. And he said, I learned from that one of the problems people had with people's books were they were required a lot of money to implement, or they didn't give anything specific as advice. And so he crafted his book to fill an unmet need in that marketplace. And that's something that doing your research before you even start writing your book can be very helpful and help it to sell better in the long run.
Absolutely. So we encourage you to look into this. This is kind of a cool thing, and our Spark-It member for today, we're going to be talking about her in a little bit. She's the co-founder of PYP Publishing Group. So when we get to that point, we'll show you how you might want to take that first step. But in the meantime, we're going to move into segment 2, and this is where we do updates from our Facebook group, new member resources, special offers and promotions, and today we're going to talk about our Increase Your Sales Network and SiteRank series, and the guest that will be on this next one is Craig Valine. Tell us a little bit about him.
Craig Valine is actually does marketing, but he also does stand-up comedy, which I had just a great interview with him because the top marketers they're students of top comedians. I don't know if you knew this, but the very top marketers that I follow in the national advertising land, they are like huge fans of Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee and things like that. Because master comedians learn a direct response model. They understand whether things are funny or not. And Craig has just some great things in that interview about things that he's learned about gauging whether people are responding or not from his work. Well, it's not work, I guess. It's not his full-time job, but his hobby as a stand-up comedian. So very interesting.
Yeah, he's very funny.
And he also talks about offline promotions like printed newsletters and things like that, because that, increase your sales, network, and SiteRank. The part of increasing your network is using different promotions that'll reach people where they're at. There are groups of people that you will never reach if you market online. They want something physical, or they need to see an ad, or they need to see a flyer or something like that. And he's got some great tips on customizing and sourcing things like that. And Craig's website, if you want to bypass, is nobscraigvaline.com. That's nobscraigvaline.com. But the best way to get the whole interview and his gift and everything is to go to sparkitnetwork.com/increase, sign up, and you get access to all 12 of those speakers. It's great.
Yeah, it's a really great series. I've been having some fun going through them, and don't not do it. You just have to do it. So we encourage you, go sign up, and you'll get Craig Valine's interview as well as the other 11. There's a really great amount of information there. In our next segment, we spark our members. We feature one of our members in depth, and today's Spark It member is Jacqueline Kyle, and she's the co-founder of PYP Publishing Group. The PYP Publishing Group, they've published over 40 books in the past few years. And what's great about Jacqueline is that she meets people where they are when they're writing a book. If they have an idea but don't know how to write, she's a ghostwriter, and she's an amazing ghostwriter because she writes in your voice. She literally will have you take samples of things that you might have written so that she gets a sense of who you are and how you deliver your message. They also do editing, and they do publishing and ebooks and all sorts of really cool stuff to get your message out there and establish you as an expert in your field. So it's way cool, and I know that she's going to be launching a Profit Power Zone very soon. This is cool. Tell us a little bit about that,
Well,
Catherine.
this Profit Power Zone, sometimes the Profit Power Zones that we have are individual sessions where you spend a whole day or part of a day working with getting your immediate results, getting things accomplished that are large, important, profit-creating projects. One, for the book writing, it has to be a longer process. So we've created a special group Profit Power Zone that goes over the course of weeks, not just one, and it's going to be, information will be at sparkitnetwork.com/author-group. And so you can get the information as to who this is for, how much it costs, and set up a consultation where we can actually have a strategy session and decide whether this is the right way for you to go, and if you're ready, and if you just have questions about it, and whether you're going to feel comfortable working with us or with Jacqueline. This is Jacqueline's group, and she'll be meeting with people online. So it's a virtual group, and you can be anywhere in the world with internet access and participate in that, and actually accomplish the result of getting your book ready for publishing.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if you know this, but November is National Novel Writing Month. Did you know that?
I did not.
And so this is a great time, and the whole idea of the National Novel Writing Month is that within those 30 days you're supposed to write a book, but that doesn't always happen. And so this is a great way to get your kickstart in a 10-week period of time to get everything ready to go for your book and maybe even finish your book. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I encourage you to check that out as well.
And with the time frame that we discussed, you could get your book written and have it in your hands in the new year. That would be a pretty exciting way to start the year.
Yeah, very, very exciting. So check it out again. What's that website? It's sparkitnetwork.com/author-group. Cool, cool, cool.
Let's talk about segment 4, creating a social spark.
Okay.
What's our hashtag of the week?
Hashtag of the week is Pound My Book. Pound My Book. I love this because this is we're going to give you the opportunity, promote your book. If you already have a book, let us know. Promote the book. You're going to say Pound My Book and maybe the name of your book, the title of your book, or maybe if you don't have a book, what you'd like your book to be about.
That's right.
So let's get those hashtags out there. Pound My Book.
I'm excited. A lot of people have books and nobody even knows it.
I know. True. Very, very true.
Well, I did a guest off. What's that called? Voiceover. I did a voiceover for a book.
And how did that go?
It went really well, but luckily the lady didn't have enough money to really promote it very much because it's kind of a saucy book. It's not a bad book, but it's called The Ultimate Dick and Jane: How to Be Your Own Dick by Jane. And it's about women's empowerment and men's empowerment too, but there is, oh my gosh, Karen, I was thinking, well, there's the things that people don't know. Well, now they know.
Now they know. That maybe we should pursue that a little bit. It's not too late.
Maybe.
Never too late.
Never too late. And the book is available on audio somewhere. So I'll. Uh-oh. Well, my mom's dead, so we're safe here.
Okie dokie.
Okay,
well,
so
we're getting ready to conclude right now. Thank goodness. We want to remind you all to sign up for the Increase series, and that's by going to sparkitnetwork.com/increase. And of course, if you have not yet taken advantage of a 30-day free trial of Visita, the contact management scheduling program that we swear by, do it. Go to sparkitnetwork.com/Visita. That was easy for me to say. sparkitnetwork.com/VCITA. Any last thoughts, Catherine?
I think that I am blushing and ready to go. This is who we are, and this is what we do, and
that's why we love you. That's why we love you.
We'll spark some humor and some intrigue somehow anyway, and we're pretty nice ladies. I'm not this isn't scandalous. It would embarrass my children, I guess, but it's not.
Well, it doesn't
I'm okay.
embarrass me. Actually, Catherine, it just makes me laugh, and you never can have too much humor in your life. So as we get ready to say goodbye, thank you so much for joining us today on episode 9 of the Spark It Network podcast. We know that you have lots of places that you could be spending your time. Thank you for spending it with us. This is Karen Glasser from gorgeous Napa, California.
And Catherine B. Trainer from beautiful Point Roberts, Washington. Let's go spark it.
Let's go spark it. See you next time. Bye-bye.